Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into Sam Altman's thoughts on the future of AI. Specifically, his recent blog post where he predicts superintelligence could arrive in just a few thousand days. Even for someone like Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, that's a pretty bold statement.
It really is.
So we're going to unpack exactly what he said, what it might mean, and, what we make of his overall vision.
And, he's really basing this whole vision around the idea that deep learning works.
Right. Forget all the hype. He's basically saying just look at the results. Deep learning is already solving some seriously complex problems, and as he points out, it's only getting more powerful.
And that's what makes this so fascinating. This isn't just some abstract theory, Altman saying, pay attention to deep learning because it's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's what's going to shape the future, like it or not.
Exactly. And of course, his company, OpenAI, is at the forefront of all this. I mean, look at their new O1 model. It's designed to reason at a level we haven't seen before in AI.
Absolutely. And that's what makes Altman's optimism, not just empty hype, right?
Yeah.
OpenAI's work does offer some pretty convincing evidence for these big claims.
Yeah, and he really doesn't shy away from the potential, does he? I mean, he's out there talking about AI solving climate change, colonizing space, unlocking scientific mysteries. He even mentions the idea of personalized AI teams for everyone. Imagine that.
It's almost like having your own little think tank on call 24/7.
Exactly. But, it's not all sunshine and roses, right? He does acknowledge there will be some serious challenges along the way.
Right, he does. And he seems especially interested in, well, the whole issue of job displacement.
Yeah, that's a big one.
On the one hand, he's saying, look, the way we work is going to change. Some jobs, they're just going to disappear, and that's that. But, and this is interesting, he kind of throws in this optimistic caveat.
Which is?
He says that we'll always find new things to do, new ways to contribute.
It's almost like he's saying, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, like AI will force us to completely rethink what work even means.
It's definitely something to think about, especially as, you navigate your own career path. How might these AI advancements change your field in the years to come? Now, let's get back to that superintelligence prediction for a moment. A few thousand days. That still sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, to be honest. But Altman does try to ground it a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah. He does. And for Altman, it all comes back to this idea that AI needs to scale. The bigger these models get, the more data they're fed, the closer we get to this superintelligence threshold. He even argues that's why having access to cheaper, more powerful computing, that infrastructure, it's so important.
It's almost like he snuck that in there. But,
Right.
but it's huge. If AI development depends on having the resources to build these massive, massive systems, then it's not just a tech issue anymore, is it?
Not at all.
It becomes about geopolitics.
Exactly.
About who controls that infrastructure and basically who controls the future of AI.
And that's a point I think a lot of people miss in these discussions. It's not just about who gets to use AI, but who gets to shape it.
Yeah.
Whose values get baked into these systems? Whose problems are they going to prioritize solving? Those are big questions.
Huge.
And not easy to answer.
And to be fair to Altman, he doesn't dive super deep into those questions himself in this particular blog post. He's more focused on this big picture, But he does leave us with one thought that really stuck with me. He says, it will not be an entirely positive story, talking about the future of AI, but the upside is so tremendous that we owe it to ourselves and the future to figure out how to navigate the risks in front of us. So he's not, sugarcoating it, but he clearly believes those potential benefits, they're worth it. What do you think?
I think it's call to action. It's realizing that we can't just sit back and hope for the best with AI. We have to be having these conversations now, grappling with how complex it all is, and figuring out how to steer this technology in a direction that benefits everyone.
And that brings us back to our listeners, right? Because this future of AI, it's not set in stone. It's being written right now, and it's going to be shaped by the choices that we make, both individually and as a society.
Exactly. It's so easy to get swept up in all the cool stuff about AI,
Yeah.
the power of it all. But we have to remember, this technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. All the things that have shaped human history, power, ambition, competition, they're all going to be a part of the AI story too.
And that's why it is so, so important for everyone to be informed and engaged in these conversations. What kind of world do we want to create with AI? What are our values? And how do we make sure those values are reflected in how AI is developed? It's a lot, but that's really what these deep dives are all about. It's funny. We started off talking about superintelligence arriving in, what was it, a few thousand days, and it sounded, I don't know, kind of like a movie trailer.
Right.
But the more we dig into Altman's vision, the more it seems like the real question isn't when this is all happening,
Yeah.
but what it means for us, all of us, and how we can actually shape this future. Because it's coming whether we're ready or not.
Absolutely. And it's easy to get caught up in these big, exciting ideas, but Altman does kind of drop these hints about, well, the less glamorous side of it all.
Like,
Remember when he talked about AI potentially becoming something countries might actually fight wars over?
oh, yeah.
That's a pretty stark reminder that this technology is going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
It's going to be woven into our world, impacting everything. Global politics, sure, but also like your day-to-day life, the things you care about.
It really underlines how important it is to understand the why behind of all of this. Whose interests are being served by this AI revolution? What problems are being solved and what problems are being, maybe ignored?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we're not careful, this technology, which is incredibly powerful, it could end up just reinforcing the inequalities we already have instead of helping us overcome them.
So where does that leave us? We've covered a lot today, from the amazing potential of AI to, let's be honest, some pretty big concerns about how we make sure it's used responsibly. What are your final takeaways?
For me, Altman's vision is a reminder that we all have a role to play in this. We're not just passengers along for the ride. We have a voice, and we can help steer this technology in a direction that benefits everyone. So stay curious, keep asking those tough questions, and don't be afraid to imagine the kind of future you want to see.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for diving into this with us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next episode.